Oh my God, we are back for yet another edition of Grindhouse Chic. As always, I am Robert Schneider, and this week I am only joined by my brother from another mother, my compadre, mi amigo, Matt Armstrong. Brian Baldwin is on special assignment this week.
He's getting a lot of those.
Yeah, it's funny. We're doing our 10 best release of the year and our bottom five, and he just said it was too hard for him to decide, and he wasn't wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. It was especially the bottom five.
The bottom five were easy. I have six, but only because one wasn't released this year technically, but I think I got it this year.
Yeah, that was a problem I kept running up. I kept finding stuff, and then I was looking up to make sure it was 2022, and it was like October 2021. I was like, I gotta take those out.
It was hard. So let's say curiosity, how did you judge your top 10?
Top 10 I did kind of on the movie itself was probably the lowest part of my decision.
Same.
But just like special effects, packaging.
You mean special features?
Special features, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, packaging. If it's a 4K, if it was like a good upgrade, stuff like that. I mean, I definitely took into effect the movie itself, but overall, just everything else. What about you?
It's basically the same, like the special features, the packaging, in the upgrade itself. Like one of the movies on my list, two of the movies on my list I just had on DVD, and one was a 4K, one was a Blu-ray, and the jump in quality was really noticeable on both of them.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, what would you say your label of 2022, your boutique label of 2022 was, and the label you're looking forward to the most so far of what they've announced in 2023?
Well, I think off the bat, I think the one that I've heard most of coming out of 2023 is probably Vinegar Syndrome. So I'm probably most excited for them. Just from the couple hints and the kind of the direction that they're taking things. I think it's going to be a good year with the 10-year stuff coming up. I think that'll be something cool to see. I wasn't around for the 5-year stuff, so.
Yeah, last night when I got home, I started rewatching the 5-year 5 films, and last night I watched a movie called The Hang Up, which is really good. It's on DVD with the movie Street Trash. John Hayes is the director of both those films. But it's funny, as I was watching that, I realized none of these movies that are on here would probably be released by Vinegar Syndrome today.
Yeah, I could see that.
And that's something that really bothered me is, and I hate to use the word mainstream, of how mainstream VS has gotten in their releases. And I don't, like, 10 years ago, it would have been laughable to think that they would have released Miami Connection or Dead Heat or Drop Dead Fred.
I swear to God, if Dead Heat is on your bottom five, I'm logging out.
I will tell you as a spoiler right now, it is not.
Nice.
But when I do my ranking of all the Vinegar Syndrome movies, it'll probably be near the bottom of it.
Okay, all right. Well, that's better, I guess.
For me, I'm most excited about Cauldron.
Yeah.
The first 3 movies they've announced for 2023 that are coming out in March: The City of the Living Dead, Frankenstein 1980, and American Commando 6, whatever the subtitle of that one is. They just sound great. I mean, I've seen City of the Living Dead and I've seen Frankenstein 80 before. Never seen the other one, but I'm just excited. And based on their track record of all the releases they've put out in 2022, they're my label to watch.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I think I pre-ordered the the City of the Living Dead, but I don't think I've got anything else from them.
You should get Murder in a Blue World and Shanghai Joe.
I do have Shanghai Joe on my list after last week.
Yeah, but all right, but I think my label of this past year was Seven.
Yeah, you've been talking them up a lot. I haven't watched enough from them to know. I'd say mine's probably I'd say low on the low end. I would say Deaf Crocodile. I've been really liking what they've been doing, and they've got a wide range of types of films they're putting out. But um, I think I might go with Arrow.
Really?
Yeah,
That's not a bad choice.
yeah.
I did watch from my first Deaf Crocodile movie, Solomon King.
Mm-hmm.
I had
Watched it the other day too.
I had a blast watching it.
Nice.
I wouldn't say it's good as the original Dolomite, but it's a fun film.
Yeah, I like how in the there were a couple of scenes where they tried to crop it so that you couldn't see the obviously like boom mics and stuff, but you could still see the shadows on the wall from them.
Well, you know what shocked me the most is that car phones existed in
Oh yeah, yeah.
1974. I really wish they included the soundtrack on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that if Deaf Crocodile releases more like that and less Russian films, I'd probably be on board.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it's a good like I don't know mix. There's some interesting stuff coming from them.
But let's get right into it because I'm sure we'll be talking about a lot of different stuff on the show. But let's get into our top 10 first. What is your number 10?
So how do you want to do this? Do you want to, if you've got it in your list too, just
Yeah, I will talk about it then when I get to it. Then when we
okay,
get to it, though, I have a feeling we may only have one or two crossovers.
okay. Are you saying I have terrible taste?
No, I'm just saying that based on what I know you've bought and what I know I've bought, I don't think there will be much crossover. I think
Okay,
one or two movies will be, but
okay. Um,
maybe three.
Again, this was very hard for me to do, and I was kind of limited on, I've bought a lot, but haven't watched a lot. So, my number 10, I'm gonna actually go with from Vinegar Syndrome, Righting Wrongs.
That
Um,
is a great movie. It made my honorable mentions.
yeah, yeah, and I had never seen it before, so it was cool to watch it and talk about it. But um, great picture, tons of special features. It's got the cool hard case that Vinegar Syndrome does just randomly sometimes. um, and then a pretty thick book that I haven't gone through yet, but I think that's always cool when they include in there. And it's not just pictures; it's actually words.
Yeah, but you're forgetting the most important thing: three different cuts of the movie,
Yes,
including the American version, which was the one I saw back in the day. I can't remember the name of it right now.
that was Above the Law.
Above the Law,
Yep.
which I still think sounds like a Steven Seagal title.
Yeah. I wasn't there a movie called Above the Law that he was in?
I don't know. I'm not a Seagal fan.
Oh, yeah. Number 10. If you haven't got it for Vinegar Syndrome yet, I'd highly recommend it.
Um, the one thing that it was really the first of their Hong Kong action movies that they've brought out, and they've since brought three. The Iceman Cometh, which I also highly recommend, though it did not make my list.
Mm-hmm.
And the city, whatever, I can't remember the name of the Ringo Lam film.
Mm. Yeah, I can't think of it either.
But I think it's a great film. I also think out of all the Cynthia Rothrock movies that they released, it's their best. It's her best.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also has one of the best openings of any film.
Yeah, pretty much nonstop from the start.
Yeah. Yeah, it barely made the list, but my number 10 is also a Hong Kong film. It is a box set, the Police Story box set, 4K box set from Eureka.
Nice.
So I was torn when this came out because about 2 years ago, Criterion released Police Story 1 and Police Story 2 on Blu-ray, and they're exceptional. And I also bought Police Story 1 and Police Story 2 when Shout Factory released them on a double feature disc. And I was pretty weary about buying them a third time. I'm very glad I did. These movies look great, they sound great, and it has the best part one, the saga, Police Story 3 Super Cop. And it's that's a definite upgrade from my Dragon Dynasty DVD, which was also the Hong Kong version, not the Weinstein cut that was released theatrically.
Mm-hmm.
But that one is also on the 4K in 1080p.
Nice.
And this is the first Eureka title I've bought, and I know they're now coming to America, so I'm looking forward to more and more of their releases.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, you can't go wrong. I don't know if it's still in print. Great booklet that comes with a great hard box, and all the special features are on the 4K.
Ooh.
Which I am a fan of.
Yeah. You don't got to get up for that one.
Yeah. Did you get that one?
I didn't. That was one that I was kind of like holding off on too, because I think like just a month or two before that, finally got the double pack from Criterion, because I waited for the sale to get all their stuff. So I was like, man, I just got these. I don't know if I want to get these yet, but I will probably end up getting it.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be out of print by then.
Yeah.
But let me ask
Hopefully
you something.
not.
How hard is it, like, when something gets upgraded? Now, I'm going to go back to the Criterion. There are different special features on here, which is why I have not gotten rid of my Criterion version of it yet.
Hmm.
And I believe, for some reason, I believe the cut of Police Story 2 is different on both of them.
Okay.
I know the one on the Shout Factory was different than the one on Criterion.
Okay.
Which is why I never got rid of that one either. All right, what is your number 9?
My number 9, I went with a pretty recent release from the Criterion Collection, and it is 1972's Buck and the Preacher.
You were talking about that last week.
Yeah. I was really excited when they announced this. I had kind of discovered this movie during a Letterboxd challenge about kind of like black film and black westerns and stuff. Was really into it. I had to rent it. As far as I know, this is the first time it's been available on Blu-ray. And the movie it looks really, really good for being from the early 70s and on Blu-ray. And it's got some special features that I was really happy with, which includes like new interviews with cast and crew, which I thought was really cool. Sidney Poitier directed and starred. Just a really good movie.
Yeah, when the next Criterion sale happens, I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I had kind of started to get a little lower on Criterion Collection because they were starting to have some of the problems too with recalls and stuff, but saw them announce this and couldn't pass it up.
My problem with Criterion these days is that they just seem to be another company instead of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of, like, Arrow is releasing under Arrow Academy is releasing Criterion worthy stuff, and Fun City is too, and
Mm-hmm.
it just seems they haven't really upped their game.
Right. Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. It seemed like as soon as everyone was waiting for them to jump to 4K, and then as soon as they did, I think Citizen Kane was their first one, and it had a bunch of problems with it. You had to get it recalled, and then one of their next ones had kind of the same problem. So hopefully they get back into it, though.
I mean, think about all the labels have had problems. How many times did Vinegar Syndrome have to send out replacement discs this year?
Yeah, that's true.
Severin.
Yeah, and I know I said Arrow was probably my release or my label of the year, but I think theirs might have been the most.
Well, they stopped releasing so many titles because of it.
Yep.
It's funny that you mentioned Arrow. They are my number 9 with
Nice.
I would say their classiest release of the year, a caper film, if you would call it that. Um, I would say it's a very sophisticated film, also a film that probably made hormones rage in the late 90s. I am talking about the Denise Richards, Nev Campbell, Matt Dillon, Kevin Bacon, Bill Murray classic, Wild Things. And if you asked me years ago if Wild Things would ever be in my best of list, except for Best Kiss, I would have said you're crazy. But the Arrow 4K and the special features on it, the booklet, everything just made me appreciate this movie even more.
Yeah, I was really wanting to put that one in my list, but I just didn't get a chance to watch it yet. So
How that is a day one watch.
I've got too much, man.
No. It's like, what's your wife's name?
Layla.
Layla, baby. Come on, sit down. We're gonna watch the movie of Florida. A movie that best represents Florida. We're gonna watch Wild Things.
She'd probably like it.
Well, yeah, it's a good movie. There's twists and turns. I mean, it's just a fun film, and I don't think I've seen, I think the last time I bought it, was when it was on. I think I bought it on Blu-ray, like real cheap at Best Buy in the bins when it was in the bargain bins. No, I don't think I ever watched it. I forgot Bill Murray was in the movie.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, I cannot remember who he was.
He played a lawyer.
Oh, okay. I think I do remember that.
But it's such a fun movie, and it might have been the height of Denise Richards' career before all the plastic surgery.
Before all the Charlie Sheen.
There's never enough Charlie Sheen. But no, it's such a fun movie, and it really weirded me out when I was doing this list and re-editing the list so many different times that this one has consistently been at number 9 in every version of it. All right, what is your number 8?
My number 8 is from 101 Films, and it is their release of Johnny Mnemonic. Just for the Keanu, and perhaps his most rigid role, which is saying a lot.
Have you never seen John Wick 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, but this movie, he's like, I don't know if he understood that he wasn't like a cyborg, but he was really going for like the whole cyborg thing, I think. But
he might be a cyborg.
Yeah. I had just watched it again a couple days ago when I was laying around dying for like 3 days. But it was so much better than I remember it being. I feel like it's really a movie like ahead of its time. It was from the mid 90s, 1995. It just kind of like touched on a lot of subjects that I think are prevalent today, and there was a lot of things that kind of made me laugh, like the upload that he gets in his head. They're freaking out that it's like 300 gigabytes. It's like the biggest file that's ever been seen, and like, oh, that's not much today. But packaging, I think, is beautiful, really cool hard box. Again, it's got a book, lots in it. Special features, there is a Japanese cut that I didn't know existed, that I want to check out, and just lots of interviews, lots of commentaries, and there's a short film that I started to watch by the director called Tomorrow Calling. I fell asleep halfway through it because I just took some medicine, but it seemed really good. So lots on the disc. It is region B though, only downside for a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't have a region free player.
Yeah.
By choice.
Yeah.
By choice. All right. My number 8 pick, I'm going to guess, is also on your list, but higher up. Okay. It might be the greatest bar movie ever to star Terrence Funk. I am talking Roadhouse 4K by VSU. Um, I like Roadhouse. I mean, I like it. I don't love it. I now love the movie. This restoration just completely beautiful, and
Mhm.
the special the special features are great. I'll give them a B plus because there's nothing with Terry Funk in it. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I live my life like I am Dalton.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah. I just wonder how one gets to be the world's best bouncer.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast once where they were talking about like this movie posits that there is some underground community where everyone knows all of the all of the bouncers in the country, like they all know which bar they're working at.
And you would think that Dalton would have been working at a better bar in New York than one that was obviously on Staten Island or Long Island. He would have been working at one in the city,
Yeah.
or he would have been in Hollywood working at like Johnny Depp's nightclub.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
he
he
had to
went
he
to
had to lay low, man, after that thing that happened.
he wasn't doing a good job laying low if the owner of a bar from outside of Kansas City, Missouri could find him like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's that underground community of
I
yeah.
mean, and technically, was he the best or was Sam Elliott the best? Well,
Well, only
Sam
one
Elliott just die in it.
yeah, only one of them came out of it alive, so
What a horrible place to leave him on the bar. But
uh
I don't know. I really enjoy Vinegar Syndrome's presentation of it. It's just it's just again, there should not have been a disc this good of a movie like Roadhouse.
yeah, agreed.
All right, what is your number 7?
My number 7, I'm going back to Criterion Collection, and I know I just got done shitting on their 4Ks, but I'm going to go with the 4K presentation of Shaft.
That is in my honorable mentions.
Nice. Um, yeah, this one I chose mostly for um the new 4K restoration because it looked incredible. It might be one of the best looking 4Ks that I have seen, especially for a movie that's what 50 something years old.
Almost 50
Um,
years old.
yeah, just looked so good. Again, packed with special features.
Including the second Shaft movie, Shaft's Big Score.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a
In,
great deal in itself.
in Blu-ray, yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would say, or get it during a sale for $25.
The
Awesome presentation.
the only thing I wish they did with that one is I wish Criterion didn't stack their discs the way they do.
Yeah, yeah, they do kind of just slap them on there.
Yeah, but
But yeah, you got a poster. Oh, it's not a. It's a slash poster slash booklet.
yeah, it's a great release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. My number 7 comes from Vinegar Syndrome partner label, the Circle Collective. And I find it hard because this isn't really a movie. It's a short, but the disc is so stacked that is a it's a definite improvement over the DVD that was released probably about 10, 12 years ago, probably longer than that. Fuck. But it's also a celebration of the guys who made this movie's career. And I am talking about Heavy Metal Parking Lot.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever seen it before. It's probably the best 16-minute movie about people hanging out at a parking lot of a Judas Priest concert.
I haven't watched it. No, I did see that it's got like what 10 other blank parking lot movies on it or
Yeah.
shorts.
Yeah. It also has Heavy Metal Basement, my favorite Neil Diamond parking lot. But it also has like the 35th anniversary Zoom party and the 35th anniversary reunion. And what's weird now, because I now live in the DC area and this was filmed up in Baltimore, and just hearing about some of these same people like living in the area where I go grocery shopping to the movies. And I've actually become Facebook friends with one of the directors of it. So I'm hoping to actually meet up with him to maybe
Nice.
get him on the show to discuss
Yeah,
Heavy Metal Parking Lot
nice.
at some point. But no, this was a definite release of it. I was telling my buddy Todd about it, and he is not a movie collector, but he went and ordered it right away from them.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I remember that one having a pretty big hubbub when it was announced. So,
It's also going to be out of print soon.
hmm
If you haven't ordered it, it is they're only doing one pressing of it, which I think is so stupid because this is a movie that needs to be seen.
do you know what this one was limited to? Was it one of the 2000s?
You know, I can tell you right now. I'm gonna head on over to vinegarsyndrome.com, which I cannot wait for it to be restored next week as I subscribe to the subscription again. I do want to talk about that before the end of the show.
Yeah.
Heavy Metal Parking Lot, only 410 left in stock. 2,500.
Okay. Yeah, that one went pretty decently quick.
Yeah. Well,
That was what, October?
no, it went up in July or
Mm,
June, whenever the Franco porno went up from Pulse.
okay. Okay.
What is your next pick?
My next pick is um definitely the most mainstream pick.
More mainstream than Roadhouse and Wild
Uh
Things?
I'd say more modern mainstream. Um and that is the 4K release of The Batman.
Whoa, hold on, that doesn't count. This is boutique only, buddy.
Oh, is it? um okay, well I'll go to my next one and see if I can think of one after that. All right, so my next one will be um I'm pretty sure this one is probably going to be in your list at some point. It is my first release that I've got from them, and it is Imprint's The Warriors.
Funny, it's in my honorable mention,
Okay.
but no,
Um,
it's a great release.
yeah. I don't know why I'm like so fascinated with this like jigsaw puzzle style box here, but I think it looks really cool. Um, two disc, two discs, one the theatrical, one the director's cut.
Which which
Um,
which is insane because I don't think anyone who ordered that will be watching the director's cut.
Yeah, so this was another one that I had watched the other night, and I was gonna watch the director's cut because I had seen the theatrical one a long time ago, but I looked it up and Googled like which one's the best to watch after for the first time, and it said like don't even bother with the director's cut. So I don't know what the issue is with it, but
Little animation sequences in there that ruin the movie,
okay.
and it's kind of then I think he sets it now in the near future.
Oh, okay. Um, but yeah, lots of special features. And new special features. There's some newly recorded commentaries and stuff if you listen to those. But I think the thing I was most surprised about was the picture quality because I started watching it and I was right away I was like, wait, is this a 4K? Because it looked so good, and I looked and it was just a Blu-ray, so it's very good restoration.
And to be fair, there is so I don't think Imprint does their own restorations. I think it's from the studio. You can buy the Warriors on Blu-ray now with both versions on it at Best Buy for like $12 or $20.
It's
The special features are not
much
on
less than
there.
the $70.
That was cheaper than that.
Yeah, it might have been.
But no, but the Imprint one, the Imprint. If you just want to see the film, go to Best Buy.
Mm,
If you want the special features, which are all great, the Imprint one is phenomenal.
yep, very nice.
Um, my next one is going to make you upset because I know you did not order it and it's currently not available. From Severin, the Argento classic Four Flies on Gray Velvet. I had the Maya DVD that was released God knows how many years ago. That's a piece of shit. And I watched it back in the day, and I I think the quality kind of deterred me. Where this was not an Argento movie that I was a big fan of. By the time I finished watching it the other day, I think it's my favorite one of the trilogy.
Hmm.
So I mean, I like it now better than Bird of a Crystal, the Crystal Plumage, and the Cat one. But this one was just fantastic. I forgot who the killer was, so I was just so engrossed in it. And I do have questions, and maybe the commentary will will explain it to me. I mean, I don't know why the killer wore such a goofy costume. It's up there with the costume that the killer wore in Happy Birthday to not Happy Birthday to Me. The one where the girl goes Happy Death Day,
Mm.
but only dumber. But the soundtrack, the score is fantastic. The special features are amazing. Like I started watching this at 9 p.m. And I watched the 4K, then I had to do the switch over to the special features on two other discs. I think I was up till 1 a.m. going through the entire thing. And Severin did such a beautiful job releasing it of a movie that I know pretty much every label has tried to release.
Mm-hmm.
That them and Shameless are the only two that have been able to.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know why was only available, and I use that in quotations during the sale,
Yeah.
but I hope they make it available again during another sale so people can buy it.
Was that one a Blu-ray or a 4K?
4K.
4K was it?
Yeah,
Nice.
there's been a lot of controversy of how expensive it was,
Mm.
but you do get 4 discs.
Yeah. And super limited apparently.
Yeah. Again, I don't know why this one is such a money maker.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the limited is what forces people to buy it day one, but I don't know. This is one that they could make money down the long run.
Didn't they just have another one where it was really limited and they came out and said like due to the overwhelming response we're doing a second printing, or was that not Severin?
That
Um,
wasn't Severin.
okay. It was some boutique release lately. Can't remember what it was.
Huh.
Yeah. But nice. Yeah, I don't have that one and I sounds like I never will.
You probably will. All right. What is your next pick? I know you have had to reconfigure because you did not take the
Yeah.
homework seriously.
Yeah. Um well, I guess in place of the one missing, I will just go back to one of the releases that I've been talking about all year, and that is Deaf Crocodile's Ilya Muromets. Um, again, I know I've talked about it a bunch, so I won't go super into it, but just from the 50s, from you know from um, I believe it was actually from Ukraine, which I think was Russia back then.
It
So,
was.
um, but yeah, just it just seemed like such a uh, huge like overtaking to source that and give it the presentation that it has, because it really does just look beautiful, very very like epic cinemascope presentation. It's got a really long making of documentary on there that kind of goes into a lot of the challenges they went through, making the film, and having 100,000 people on set at a time and stuff like that. So um I know it's out of print, so I don't know if you can get a standard version at this point, but it's definitely on my list. I didn't put it on there because I have talked about it so much already, but since you hate the Batman, I'll
I don't
throw
hate
it
the
in there.
Batman. I think it's my favorite Batman movie of all time,
Oh, nice.
next to Superman v Batman: Dawn of Justice.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Um, but no, I I have nothing to say on that one because isn't it a 2 hour plus movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I can't watch it.
It doesn't feel like it though. It's just like
In my opinion, Rush. So I'll get into it real quick. I know I seem pretty down on Russian movies, but I saw a film called Solaris,
mm-hmm.
that made me wish I was watching. I would have watched The Notebook 5 times in a row to never have ever seen Solaris.
You're talking like the original Solaris?
Yes,
Okay.
I've never seen the remake because Soderbergh also doesn't know how to edit movies. I mean, no, you're wrong. Soderbergh also makes really long films.
Yeah. Oh no, it was actually only 91 minutes.
Well, maybe I
That make
might
you want to
check.
watch it now?
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. All right. My next pick is from Imprint, and I'm going to talk about my history of the film for a little bit. I first saw it on USA's Night Flight, which, first of all, do you know what Night Flight was?
USA's Night Flight?
USA Network's Night Flight.
No.
All right. Back in the day, on the USA Network, before USA Up All Night, they had a show called Night Flight. It was music videos, documentaries about music, short films, feature length films, redub stuff from Japan. The show was great. And one of the movies they showed on there, they showed a lot of like punk rock films. And one of them was Ladies and Gentlemen, the Fabulous Stains. And I just fell in love with it at that point. And for the longest time, I just had it on a VHS recording of the episode on Night Flight.
Hmm.
And then it got lost among all my moves during the years. Oh wow, I got a work email today. And it's in 15 minutes. It's time for the writers' meeting, which is
Uh-oh.
not happening. I will not be there. I will not be in the writers' meeting this week. Um, and then Shout Factory released it on DVD, and I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for it to come out on Blu-ray. It took a while. Imprint did it, and I think they've released the definitive version. Not only does it look beautiful, it in some ways it's still relevant. Diane Lane and Laura Dern are fantastic. Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols is in there. And there are two great video essays on here. One is I Don't Put Out, Punk, Anger, X Feminism by Kat Ellinger, and Lizard Music, The Late Night Culture of the Fabulous Stains by author Sarah Marcus. If none of the other films that are on my list were released this year, this would have been my number one film.
Nice.
And this slip cover is great. I highly recommend that everybody pick it up because it's a great movie.
You said that's Imprint?
Imprint, yes.
Okay. Nice.
All right. What is your next pick?
My next pick, which is going to be, this is my number 4.
Number 4.
Um, this is a movie that I fell in love with the first time I saw it. My friend had introduced me to it, and I want to say we were maybe just either getting into high school or just leaving high school. Um,
It's a whole 4-year difference right there, buddy.
I know. I'm gonna say just going into it. Um, but I had like grown up, watching a lot of martial arts films. From all the greats. I loved when um Dimension, I'll redact that, brought out like all the Jet Li movies. Um, but this one, when I first watched it, I thought was just such an unorthodox movie. I had a crappy DVD for the longest time, so I was really happy when 88 Films restored this, and it is Rikio, the story of Ricky. I know you haven't seen it yet. Just completely bonkers. It's not so much a kung fu movie, but just like a gory um, martial arts movie where they introduce just the wildest fighting styles and just try and throw the gore, as much gore in it as they can. Really good story. The hard box, looks really good. Um, it's got a book. It's really, really tight in there. Um, got a book like a lot of them do. and the new scan just looks beautiful. The DVD I had looked atrocious, super blurry, bunch of just like nasty cuts everywhere, and this kind of cleaned everything up and put it into a really good picture.
I've heard a rumor, and the rumor might be totally false, that Vinegar Syndrome is releasing that next year.
I think I might have spread that rumor, and
Yeah,
I
I
do
might have heard
think,
it from you.
yeah, I do think it's going to happen.
Which I
Hopefully a
don't see.
4K.
It's not a Golden Harvest movie though,
It is not, no.
and that's who it seems Vinegar Syndrome has their deal with, is Golden Harvest.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely double dip if they did.
All right,
Yeah,
my number three.
four.
So I'll go back to my history on this one. Basically, when I heard that Tarantino based Daryl Hannah's character in the Kill Bill movies on this on the main character from this movie, I knew I had to see it. Synapse back in the day released 2 DVDs of Thriller: A Cruel Picture, the red and yellow packaging, one for the hardcore version, one for the softcore, they call her One Eye version. And I thought those versions were good, and for the longest time I thought they were as good as it was going to get,
Hmm.
because it took forever for them to announce a Blu-ray of it. And I pre-ordered the Blu-ray of it when it went up live on Amazon, and then I promptly canceled it when Vinegar Syndrome announced the 4K deluxe set of it. And I'm glad I did not pull the trigger on both of them, because I would have been pissed that I bought the Synapse one.
Yeah.
And the Vinegar Syndrome release was by far the best it's ever looked. The documentary of it is fantastic and fascinating. I prefer they call her One Eye. This is not an easy movie to watch, because it is brutal, or cruel, as they say.
Yeah.
And I'm just, I was just in very happy with the release, and the special features were great. It seems like for their May and Black Friday releases is when they put the most love into the work.
Yeah. Yeah, it just does seem like very random when they do that. Yeah, maybe it is just during the big sales.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the money. Again, I don't know why this version had to go out of print, why it was limited.
Hmm.
Just to get, they call her One Eye in 4K is just great.
Yeah, I still need to have some time to myself to watch that one.
Yeah, you can't watch it with the misses.
Yeah.
All right, what is your number three?
Uh my number three is um one of my favorite movies ever. Um and when it was announced that it was getting a 4K upgrade, I immediately I'm gonna estimate quadruple dipped here, and it is Arrow's release of RoboCop. Um,
It's fantastic.
yes, I think this is one of the first 4K releases that I've seen where the 4K upgrade was, significantly noticeable. Um, the picture was really, really good on it. Um, aside from that, it's got the hard case that they usually put out for this kind of stuff. Super thick book, posters, postcards, and then I mean, this whole back is all just special features that are on there. I know a lot of them are old, but it does have a lot of new stuff too. So just jam-packed disc, really good picture. Um, yeah, I introduced my niece to this movie for the first time, and she really loved it.
I think I've told you the story about the movie, how I saw this in Jaws 3D at a drive-in, and was hoping to get it HD with the girl I was with, but it didn't happen. Fell in love with the movies instead.
Yeah,
But it's the
both
best
good,
movie to
both
take
good.
place. Best movie to take place in New Detroit.
Yeah.
I have it on 4K. I still haven't cracked it open. I was going to do that during some of my days off, but I don't have very many. I have tomorrow. I have to work tomorrow and Wednesday,
Then you're off till like
the 3rd.
after New Year's. Nice.
Yeah. All right. My number 3. First of all, I am very happy that we have not so far not had any of the same stuff on our list. And
yeah, we have it.
From what I know, my number 1 and 2 are. I know that we don't. This one might be it, and I don't think it would be this high on your list. It's from Severin, the incredibly strange films of Ray Dennis Steckler.
Nice.
Just compared to me, this box set has been phenomenal. I still haven't watched the pornos or the last disc, but the pre-porno movies I think of his are just fantastic in varying degrees. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend this. Is the second best director series box set.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah.
And if the rumors are true, I think the next director's box set's going to be really good as well. I don't know if they're releasing it or Arrow's releasing it. It's the box set of Jean Roland.
Not familiar.
He did the movie Fascination, Requiem for a Vamp. He did a lot of vampire movies. And a lot of them have erotic vampire movies.
Okay.
So Redemption has put his stuff out in the past, and you get them all through Kino. But the incredibly strange films of Ray Dennis Steckler has been, to me, just great. I mean, it's up there at the Al Adamson one.
Yeah, I have that one, but I haven't watched any of it yet.
You haven't watched any of the Al Adamson stuff yet?
Surprise.
I might just schedule an Adamson movie for us to talk about.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that.
All right. What is your number 2?
My number 2.
Hold on, did you do not? All right, you did number 3. Your 3rd, right?
My 3rd was RoboCop. Yeah.
Okay.
My number 2 is just another example that you don't know me at all. It is the Ray Dennis Steckler set. Yeah, picked it up on a whim when you recommended it. Thought it was kind of pricey, but there were tons of movies in it. But from what we've watched so far, I've kind of fallen in love with them. I would say they're definitely not for everyone. Check out our videos on those if you want to see the first 3 of them so far. But
and we're taking a pause. We're coming back in February with Ray Dennis Steckler, or maybe we'll do it intermittently, because I know we're going to do I have some stuff planned for us for February.
Okay. But yeah, just tons here. 20 films, 10 discs, 30 hours of special features. It has a huge 100-page book. You really can't go wrong. And I've like I said, I've been falling in love with these films. They're just so, like quirky, and you can't not like them, really, from what I've seen.
No, they're kind of addictive.
Mm-hmm.
And like some of them he made for $5.
Yeah. Now, from what you say, I'm gonna probably start liking them less when we get further in, but I'm still excited to dive into them.
I'm excited for that journey for you, and I'm sure we'll get back to talking about them soon. We got the first 3 movies up, and then we have our last episode, which was our finds of the year, and then this one, and then next week we'll get back to reviewing films. But my number 2, I'm very excited that I have one criterion in this list, and it is David Lynch's Lost Highway. I did see the 4K restoration at the AFI Silver Spring here in Silver Spring, Maryland, and the movie had never looked better. It just, when I was watching it, it just seemed like it was the most 90s of all of David Lynch's films from that time period, just with the fact that Bill Pullman played a saxophone. Which just seems like a 90s Skinamax thing to do. But no, it's just a fantastic movie, and the 4K special features are just incredible, including Pretty as a Picture, The Art of David Lynch, which I find weird because Criterion had sold that as a separate disc for the longest time period,
Uh-huh.
which I still haven't. I never watched it. I'm excited to. But no, this is just a great release, and I am looking forward to the eventual 4K releases of Blue Velvet, The Elephant Man, and Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me.
Mm. Are they
And
doing
Erase.
all those in 4K?
I,
Or have
I,
they?
I have a feeling they are. They're Mulholland Drive. They've done this,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll also say this is a big upgrade from the Kino Blu-ray of it. Um, I didn't realize when I picked it up that the Kino Blu-ray had some sound issues.
Hmm.
Mine sounded like shit. I did learn there was a I could have gotten a new version of it, but I had never opened it up until several months ago because I felt like watching it. And just even the picture is far superior. And David Lynch was not involved in the Kino release. He was involved in this one.
Hmm. Okay.
So
Nice.
pick it up in the sale. It's also, in my opinion, takes place in the Twin Peaks universe, much like Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive
Yeah.
and Eraserhead.
I think Criterion Collection, I don't know if it's the same for you, but that's the only label that I'll get during sales. Like even when a new release comes out, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna wait for the sale for that.
Well, it's because they don't limit anything,
Mm-hmm.
which is smart. But I think this is how the boutique labels make their money: is it's supply and demand. People are going to want it if there's less of them out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think Master Chaos said in one of his videos that he thinks at some point this year we're going to see a $100 release of just a single movie.
You think so?
We're getting there. We paid $55 for Four Flies on Gray Velvet.
Yeah.
It's going to get there at some point, and at some point, the hobby isn't worth it.
Mm-hmm. What if it's something you really want? Will you get it?
that I don't know. I think for me, if it's over $100, there better be 20 movies on there.
Yeah.
It, it's like we are supposedly going into recession in 2023, which is going to suck because we just came out of the financial mess of the pandemic, and inflation's going down. Like today was the first time I saw gas at almost $2.99 in a long time.
Hmm.
So I know prices are going down, but for how long is that going to happen?
Right. Yeah.
It still costs me a fortune to go to the grocery store every week.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. Hopefully, I don't know. I don't see myself paying that much for a movie, but who knows?
Again, if it's something you really, if it's something you really want, you're going to.
Mm-hmm. If it's limited to like 10, yeah, I'll probably get it.
I think a lot of this limited stuff is going to start biting the companies in the ass pretty soon.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like with the VSA of Action USA. Why am I paying all this money for packaging when I can still go get the MVD version for $20, if
Mm-hmm.
that? At some point, you got to ask yourself, what matters more: is the packaging or the movie?
Mm-hmm. Having all the spine numbers.
Even then, that really doesn't matter. Like I'm right now debating: am I going to order the VSLs? Am I going to order Sidekick on the VSU? Do I want it that bad?
Mm-hmm.
And that I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm sure. I'm sure I will.
Well, I think January is going to be an expensive month for you.
As much as I will sit here and say, yeah, might pick and choose here, but I'm sure I will.
All right, what is your number one pick?
My number one, I'm sure it is no surprise, is the 4K Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
Just I think my number one movie in terms of rewatchability. I I can throw this thing on any day of the week and just be totally entertained by it. Um, the Vinegar Syndrome gave it their VSU treatment, so it's got the cool packaging, the open up box, and then the release with another slipcover and a book. Um, Lots of special features. I think the only thing that I'm not a huge fan of, and I'm not sure yet, is the artwork. Um,
Well, yeah, because it doesn't have Terry Funk in there.
it does not have Terry Funk.
Terry Funk, who was a main supporting character of the movie.
Yeah,
I think he was the first bouncer to get fired.
it was. Yeah, I heard this rumor. Have you watched it since you got the 4K, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so one of the bartenders that just pops in at one point is Keith David. I don't know if you noticed him back there.
I did
Um,
not.
but he is like in the opening credits, he's like third or fourth build. So there's this rumor where his character had like a huge role in the movie, but it was all cut out. So I was like really hoping that they were going to have some lost cut uh, with with all the Keith David stuff in it. But
Was Keith? Was this before or after They Live? I think this is after They Live.
this was after, yeah.
Yeah.
Roadhouse is 89 or 90. So yeah, after all those. So
It might have been his agent saying, "Hey, you got to give him one of the
maybe,
top
yeah.
10."
But I mean, he was literally in there for like, I'd say 10 seconds total.
Huh. I might have to do some research on. I did not
Yeah.
notice him in there.
Yeah.
All right. Before I get to my number one, I'm going to do some honorable mentions of films that almost made the list. Passing Strangers and Forbidden Letters, two films by Arthur Besson from Altered Innocence. The Warriors from Imprint. Death Game from Grindhouse. Shanghai Joe from Cauldron. Invisible Maniac Freeway Righting Wrongs from Vinegar Syndrome. Shaft from Criterion. Stunt Rock from Kino. I need to go on this one for a second. If the Stunt Rock from Kino and the Stunt Rock release from Umbrella were combined into one, it would have made the list with all the special features and the comic book. Voyage of the Rock Aliens from Vinegar Syndrome. Dance Party USA Quiet City from Circle Collective. Mad Dog Morgan from Indicator. Hard Target 4K from Kino. And from Severin, Don't Go in the House. Those were all honorable mentions and things that I wish made the list, but they didn't. But my number one from classic flicks, Little Rascals, the Centennial Collection.
Nice.
I just am in awe of everything they've done with this. Now, I would have been pissed off if I bought all 6 of the versions for this one. But then I would not have been able to get the new recorded introduction by Leonard Maltin, presentation of the only surviving foreign language shorts, in which our gang performed 3 newly restored silent shorts, including one of my discoveries of the year, Mary Queen of Tots, The Good Old Days, the music of our gang, Then and Now, a special tour of our gang filming locations. And this one I thought was the coolest thing. The Our Gang Centennial at the Hollywood Museum, featuring Sidney Kerbick, the last surviving main player of the Hal Roach era of the Our Gang comedies. The Woim, the second bully during the later years. A reunion from You Asked For It, featuring some of the silent characters, where the host got pretty much all their names wrong of the characters they played. This was an interesting one. A day in the life of Spanky and Porky, as they were in Boulder, Colorado in April 1985 for a convention, and tons of others. And this was the release of the year. I'm in shock because where my tastes lie, it's not really in it, but I've just had the most fun watching these movies uncut and looking as good as they did when they were released.
Yeah, is it so? It's all movies on there. It's not like TV episodes.
Well, there were no TV episodes. These were the episodes
okay.
that made the TV.
Oh, okay.
But they cut them
Nice.
up in. They cut them up. They edited them for time and for content.
Okay.
and some of the content is deservedly so. All
Nice.
right. Let's talk about our 5 worst release or most disappointing release of the year. What is your number 5?
Well, I had to after your bombshell that it had to just be boutique labels, I had to pull a couple out of here.
Okay.
So I replaced them with some that I had in my list, but realized they came out at the end of last year, but I didn't get them until this year, so I kind of threw them back in here. Um, so I guess number 5, I will go with um, another one of my favorite movies. Um, and I might get some slack for this, and I might get some slack that I'm counting this as a boutique label. So you have to let me know. But um, it is Paramount Presents.
Not a boutique label.
They have spine numbers.
Doesn't matter. Not a boutique label.
Okay, let me see if I can think of a different one.
I'll
Okay,
go with my first one while you think of that. So mine is one I talked about on the show before. Documentary from TerrorVision, Blood, Guts, and Sunshine.
Hmm.
Basically, it's just I paid $20 for a commercial. This is one of the worst documentaries I have ever seen. It also proves my point. If you are a subject matter of it, you should not make a movie about it.
Hmm.
The only exception will be the guy who owns VH Shitfest made a documentary called Adjust Your Tracking. He did it right because he did not make himself the focal point of it, nor his friends, though I'm sure were his friends. But
Yeah,
Blood, Guts, and Sunshine, I would love to see a movie of about Florida regional horror from someone competent.
Who made that one?
It was released by TerrorVision. I can't remember who the filmmaker was.
Okay.
But he was a director producer of straight to video horror.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, I know you were pretty disappointed by that one. I think Brian liked it though, or was he excited for it and hadn't seen
I
it?
think he was excited for it.
Okay.
All right, what is your first disappointment of the year?
I'm gonna go with so help me God if you say this isn't a boutique label. It's from Shout Select.
It's a boutique label.
Okay. All right. Featuring one of my favorite actors that I went over with on our top 5 actors episode a long time ago. And this was one that I had never seen before, so I was excited to check it out. And it is Going Berserk.
I love that movie.
The movie itself was good. So I'm glad I picked it up in that sense, but I thought that this release of it just looked like poo poo. I thought the picture quality just wasn't great. And I think this is an example of, you know, Shout Factory and Scream Factory doing these releases where, they're charging you $30 and it's super bare bones. The special features list is theatrical trailer.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised because Shout Factory back in the day did the SCTV series on DVD, and they were able to get cooperation from almost all of the surviving cast members. I know Eugene Levy, since that has skyrocketed in popularity with Schitt's Creek.
Mm-hmm.
John Candy is dead, but Joe Flaherty is waiting for somebody to call him.
He is. Yeah, they got nothing.
Yeah.
Theatrical trailer.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like up converted or anything. It was like the original crappy looking trailer.
I had never heard of that movie until a few years ago, and then I was a huge fan of SCT. I had no idea how I had no idea that existed. I scooped it up when they announced it. I paid full price for it, and I thought the movie was dumb as hell, but I laughed.
Yeah, I mean it's funny for that time frame, and like I said, I love John Candy, so I just wanted there to be more.
Yeah, me too.
For the price.
All right. My next pick, I'm torn because I actually really enjoyed the movie. It was Satan's Children from Agfa. What made this one of the most disappointing releases for me was that all the extras were ported over from the disc Satanis, which is no longer in print. And one of my, when I buy an AGFA disc, I really enjoy the extras. I enjoy the trailers. I enjoy the other movies that come with it.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to be surprised. Um, the fact that I had seen them all before really, really took away from the main feature for me. And I just thought it was pure laziness on AGFA's part just to double dip like that, and because one movie is no longer in print.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, what is your next pick?
Um, my next one I'm going to go with, um, this is a partner label, or not a partner label, a boutique label that I had kind of discovered, just because I was looking for this movie, and they just released it this year. It is the label is Plan B,
Okay.
and it is their release. It's a Region B release only of uh, Red Rock West. Pretty hard to say there. Um,
Red Rock West.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
pretty easy.
okay. Okay. Red Rock, Red Rock, Red Rock West.
Red Rock West.
Um, yeah, I was looking for the movie. There's no American Blu-ray, so I saw this company had just put it out this year, and um, I put it in, and I was just really disappointed right away. The the transfer itself just looked um like super smooth. I don't remember the movie looking like that. Like they just kind of blurred it up. Um, no really special features other than um the same kind of old commentaries. Another example of, I think when they list special features and they go with UK Blu-ray premiere, high definition transfer, like those aren't special features. Those are just what you're giving me. That's So I was just really disappointed. I've been waiting to see the movie again. And it was almost unwatchable just because it was so like smooth looking and just weird. So yeah, pretty disappointed. It was almost $30 as well. Um, so yeah, pretty disappointed by it.
I'm sorry. I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's got Nicolas Cage, so how could it not be?
Do you want me to answer that?
Nope, nope.
All right. My next pick is from Severin, Caligula the Untold Story. I'm not a fan of Bob Guccione's Caligula, but I am a fan of Joe D'Amato and Bruno Mattei, which is why I bought these two films. My reaction after watching this one was some stories are better left untold. And if you can make me want to watch the original Caligula, which I don't, you succeeded, Joe D'Amato. You succeeded. I also had no idea these were pornos or they had real sex in them. I'm not complaining, but
yeah, I don't think I've ever even heard of them. I had accidentally, when I was younger, rented the one that had like um the celebrities in it.
Caligula.
Yeah, that's not this, right?
No, this is the Caligula exploitation that
Okay.
came after it.
So yeah, I had accidentally rented that as when I was a kid, and me and my brother were sitting there watching it, and then the scenes popped up, and I was like, "Oh my god, what?" Let's rewind that. So I don't know. Is it just like a
Pause
theme?
the movie for me, brother. Oh, you gotta go to the bathroom too.
Yeah. So yeah, is it just like a theme with Caligula, or
different Caligula? There were two of them. One day I'll make myself watch the Bruno Mattei version. But all right, what is your third pick?
My third, I'm gonna go with one that I've actually seen getting a lot of praise, but I was just very disappointed in it, and it is Scream Factory's new 4K release of Child's Play. Um, Again, one of those releases where um, I paid for it on the site because I'm a sucker for getting posters, and it's always more expensive that way. So I popped it in and was just immediately the picture quality was it kept alternating from like super grainy, which at one point that might be um what people want. They want to see the original presentation of it. But it was just very distracting. And then other scenes that went to being like super sharp, like they did a ton of work to really sharpen these scenes up, and it just kept going back and forth, and it was just very distracting watching the movie that I was really excited to see in 4K. And then the other bad thing about it, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this was the first movie that really spawned the greasy films from Scream Factory, which they came out and said was off gassing, but I've never seen any other release from anyone do this. So,
There have been some Vinegar Syndromes that had it.
oh, was there? I just haven't seen it yet, and I when I first saw that, I kind of smeared it in the second one and was like, "What the heck is that?" And then, so yeah, just
Hopefully
the picture quality in general.
hopefully their quality control will get that taken care of.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. My number two was I'll use the word box set loosely because it's not really a box set. It's 6 movies on 3 discs, from VCI: Santo, El Mascarado de Plata.
Nailed it.
Again, the movies are enjoyable. The problem with me is they're the dubbed version. And again, I don't have a problem with dub because in some movies like this, I prefer it, but it doesn't have the original title sequences. And you're forced to watch an introduction before the movies. And I was hoping for a much better Santo set than this. Again, I enjoy the movies. I just thought the presentation of this disc was subpar.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the releases on there is the family version, or the nudity free version, and then they released it separately with the nudity in it. I'm like, if you're spending all this money on 6 movies, give the real version of it on here.
Yeah. So that's just like a single release by itself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty stupid.
It is. What is your number 2?
So I'm looking around trying to replace Paramount Plus, and I can just not find one that I hate. So, I'm just gonna have 4, I guess.
All right.
So I'll make it my number 1, and I spent about an hour looking for it yesterday. Um, and I don't know if I just threw it somewhere in frustration, but it is also a Scream Factory 4K. And I think that you said you got this one, so I'll see if you had this problem, but it is 4K's The Craft. Did you get that one?
I did.
Did you watch it?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know if you had this issue, but
I did.
okay. It was started to play like an old Nintendo game that had too much going on the screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one I was very, very excited to get because I love that movie. I know when we talked about Scream, I went into my Nev Campbell crush. So I was,
hold on. You went to your Nev Campbell crush, and yet Wild Things isn't in your top 10. You haven't cracked that open yet. That was Nev in her prime, bro.
Yeah. But she wasn't like she didn't have the same kind of thing going on in that one. She wasn't naked.
That was in her contract.
What, not to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm
Name
just
one
saying.
movie where Nev Campbell got naked. She was no Katie Holmes who got naked in The Gift.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I was just really excited to see it.
Oh, you know what? That brings us to our new sponsor, Mr. Skin. If you're looking for your favorite actress nude, go to Mr. Skin. I wish we had Mr. Skin as a sponsor because that would have been just a natural way to bring it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call him up.
Is that even still a website?
Probably.
All right. I'm gonna do some research and then write him. Hey, can we just say you're a sponsor to give us street cred? And he'll be like, you remember me?
Yeah.
Did
Yeah,
you
that was
recently watch Knocked Up?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was the thing in there. Yeah, that was probably my most disappointing one. Um, just that's such a bad thing to happen in like a big 4K release.
Well, I don't think Scream Factory's quality control is up to snuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of hope same thing with Arrow. I hope Scream Factory just kind of, takes a step back and kind of, wears down or whittles down their releases a little bit just to, not only have better quality control, but just put out better releases. Like, these all of these that they put out, all these horror films, it's the same exact release. They slap a silver banner at the top and maybe put one new thing on it. But, for people buying the same movie from them, I just think they need to do more.
Yeah, not wrong.
Yeah.
All right, my number one is shock no one. From Vinegar Syndrome, Master of the World.
I haven't watched that.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, you would think the Italians could not screw up a caveman movie. They did. They did.
Is this the one that's just grunting,
Yes.
no words being spoken?
I'm sure the grunts all mean something in caveman, but I don't speak caveman.
Yeah.
Horrible. It made me wonder why I subscribed back in January to them because it was such a shitty movie.
Mm-hmm.
But minus some rough road towards the beginning, I think Vinegar Syndrome had a really good year.
Yeah. So I guess on Vinegar Syndrome's side, with their whole film preservation, do you think that that is a film that at least deserved to be preserved, or does that thing just need to die?
I think all film needs to be preserved. I was the guest on our friend Johnny Mockney's podcast when we were discussing Andy Milligan. We discussed the ghastly ones. The fuck is that movie called? We discussed Vapors and Seeds.
Hmm.
And like half of Milligan's movies are lost. And it's a shame because I'm sure one of those is probably one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah.
But we'll never know because they don't actually. You know what? It's Milligan, so there's no chance in hell of it being one of the greatest movies ever made. But I I started rewatch. I started watching. I never really got dug that deep into the box set because his movies to me are a chore. But I picked out Legacy of Blood because I saw that they're releasing that separate in January from Severin, and I'm like, all right, this can't be a bad movie. Basically, it's a scene for scene remake of the Ghastly ones. But what's horrifying about it is made in 1978 or 77 and released in 78, which means it came out the same year as Halloween, and it felt so antiquated of a movie.
Mm.
Yes, I'm glad it's released. I'm glad someone preserved it, but it also makes me wonder. Preserving them is great, maybe putting them on streaming, but do they all need to be released?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that probably would have been a good one for the VSL label. It would have shown
I
them not to go in that direction anymore.
I I think I talked about it last week. I think VSL is a mistake. I think I think right now they are trying to monopolize the boutique market
Mm-hmm.
with all the partner labels and then their own releases. I think it's too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just I'm kind of torn on it because again, it is like another thing you have to buy. It's not included. Who knows what you're gonna get? But on the other side of it, I think when Vinegar Syndrome does these things where they just buy up a bunch of rights, they probably get a lot of like stinkers in there. So I guess it's kind of a good idea to release one of them, see how it does, and then if it does well, they can venture more into that direction. But yeah, I kind of just wish it was something included.
Again, I think enough's enough, and are people going to be on board with it?
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that 2023 is the year Vinegar Syndrome is going to lose some of its luster.
Could be, yeah.
I think there are other labels out there who are doing what Vinegar Syndrome did at the beginning. And I think that's where some of the people's money is going to go. I don't know if it's going to be, oh great, another Shout Factory re-release. Oh,
Yeah.
another Arrow re-release. It's it's just going to be a very curious year of where the boutique market label is going to go.
Mm-hmm. So are there, I guess on that kind of subject, are there any other boutique labels that you would subscribe to if they offered it?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was for a decent amount of money, yeah. But I mean, the only two labels I know, the only three labels I know that has the subscription, Vinegar Syndrome, Terror Vision. I think Dark Forces had one, and Vinegar Syndrome has made a lot of sense when it started, and I still think it makes sense. But with all the sub labels and partner labels, I don't. It's cost effective for those to subscribe, but none of the Vinegar Syndrome Prime stuff really ever sells out. I mean, unless you pre-ordered it, unless you didn't pre-order it
Right.
from the May and November sales.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it'll definitely be interesting to see what they do. I mean, I think this last year was a pretty good year, so I think if they don't at least up it in some way, then yeah, I do think that they'll.
I don't think like I think Subscriber Week is going to turn more people off than they think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Did I enjoy not spending $1,000 extra $1,000 at on Black Friday? Yeah, I mean, I did not. I bought the two VSA titles, and I bought some of the Severance sale titles minus the 8 bundle.
Mm-hmm.
But and I bought a couple of other things from Vinegar Syndrome, like the Doll Squad and the Herschel or Gordon Lewis films. I might not have ordered those two if I had to subscribe
Yeah.
then. But I also think it's like, oh, here's our subscription. Oh, every day there'll be some films for $10. At that point, you just pissed off everybody who spent money
Yeah.
during the sale.
Yep.
Oh, we're going to announce the release of the day. Okay, guys, you're okay. 2 VSAs. That might be a little too much. Oh, this VSL line, and then the 10 partner labels.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, you're asking for almost $500 here, or you're asking for a lot of money, especially when people are about to shell out money for a subscription.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. I almost think maybe they should just not have if they're gonna change it to this and have the subscriber week in January. I think they should not do partner releases in January.
Yeah, but partner releases is where I think they make their money.
Yeah.
Because they're getting paid to release those movies.
Mm-hmm.
And the more partner stuff they sell, the more they don't have to worry about their own stuff not selling.
Yeah.
And because there's so much FOMO, oh, there's only 1,000 of these. You know what? Those 1,000 are going to sell within the first day.
Yep. And they do.
Though I don't know how true that is, because there is still a lot of stuff from partner label. I mean, I think they should take December off altogether and not release anything.
Vinegar Syndrome.
And the partner labels.
Oh, okay.
Especially because the 1 week before, people are spending a shitload of money.
Mm-hmm.
it's to the point where it's like, this was okay when you just released a VSA and along with the subscription. But the more you're asking your loyal fan base to spend, the more they're not going to. And if you want to look back in history, we can look at the speculative comic book runs of the 90s of how people thought everything was going to be worth a fortune. And you look at comics from labels like Valiant and Image and other boutique comic labels that don't exist anymore because speculation ran wild. And at that point, everyone and their mother was releasing comic books. And to me, it was the beginning of the end of the direct market. I mean, back then comics were selling the millions. Now we're lucky if they're selling 100,000.
Yeah. I've got a local comic shop next to me, and I like pop in there every now and then just to take a look around. And every time I go in, there's less and less stuff in there.
But I mean, it's like that with physical media. There's so much competition out there. And here's the thing, OCN now controls a good portion of their own competition. And I know a lot of these movies would not sell if they weren't part of Vinegar Syndrome, with the exception of AGFA. But even then, they must have known something to go over to VS to have them release them.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I mean, just from a marketing standpoint, this next year is going to be interesting. We'll see if I'm sure TerraVision, who had their own, they were releasing their own stuff before with records, how they do with their subscription model. But I don't know. I just think it's going to be a very hard year for a lot of these labels. And I think because there's going to be so much stuff coming out, people are going to go, do I want to spend my money at Vinegar Syndrome? Do I want to spend my money at the Cauldron? Do I want to spend money at Vinegar Syndrome? Do I want to spend something from Severin? And I don't include Arrow in this because while we say Arrow is a boutique label, they're owned by Zavi, which means they are owned by a pretty big corporation in Europe.
Which is surprising that they're still having so many issues.
That might be why.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, look, there's the person from Arrow has his or her new label that started that looks pretty good. Eventually I'll buy something from them, but
is that the Radiance one?
Yes. And I know Fun City is going to be releasing some good stuff next year. So, I mean, it's just going to be like, where is my money going to go? Am I going to order every VSL? Am I going to order VSL? Am I going to order VSU? I mean, luckily so far, they've all been movies that I've liked, with the exception of Six String Samurai. But Sidekick is going to be the test for me. Not only, in my opinion, is it a lesser Chuck Norris film, I'd rather watch Dead Heat.
Well, yeah, obviously.
No, because I don't like Dead Heat, and I feel the same way about Sidekick.
So they said that's going to be a VSU Sidekick?
No, that's what people are speculating, because they have announced that they're going to be releasing it.
Yeah.
But before we get to the end of our show, what movie shall we talk about next week?
So we'll be into the new year by then, right?
Yep. I have a suggestion.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's watch Blood Delirium.
Okay.
All right.
That was Brian's number one discovery, right?
Yep. Well, I have not opened it yet.
Yeah.
And I need to watch it so I can complete my Vinegar Syndrome ranking for the 2022.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, nice. Cool. So join us next week for Blood Delirium. Don't forget, hit subscribe, comment, share, do all that crazy stuff. And yeah, we will see you next week as we discuss Blood Delirium. Bye.